All right, how we doing, folks? It is Tuesday, January 17th, 2017. Rich Van Tassel with you, giving you our Celtics report. Was going to do it yesterday when we did the regular weekly NBA report, but the Celtics had a game, so I figured I'd let that one go final and then do it from here. The Celtics did win last night, 108-98, I believe was the score. Over the Charlotte Hornets, Celtics have now won 3 straight, and quietly, I guess, to the rest of the fans out there, maybe to even some Celtics fans. The Celtics are 13-3 in their last 16. Very impressive there. 2 of those losses were games they gave away to the Toronto Raptors and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The other loss was to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So you look at the records of the teams that they've lost in that stretch, very good in that regard. So the Celtics are certainly clicking very nicely now, and they've really come along. Once the injuries have started to fade a bit, granted they have been playing without Avery Bradley. He did come back last night. I think it was 3 games or 4 games he had missed. But they were without him. But of course they've gotten guys like Al Horford, Jake Crowder back. They've been without Tyler Zeller off the bench. So, you had the Zeller and Bradley injuries, but Marcus Smart is a guy who can really come in and replace Avery Bradley pretty easily, and then you have a guy like a Terry Rozier who can fill that gap for Marcus Smart on the bench. So while Avery Bradley is a very good basketball player, I think he's a key contributor to this team. I like Avery Bradley a lot. An injury to him, well, it can't be necessarily fixed. We saw what happened last year when they lost him in the playoffs. It's a situation where for a few games you can bring Marcus Smart into the game and you're not really going to lose much as far as your stride and the way things are going. But having Horford and Crowder back, we're starting to see this team take flight. The Celtics are 1.5 behind the Toronto Raptors for the top spot in the division, and only 3.5 back behind the Cleveland Cavaliers for the top spot in the conference. Now the Cavaliers are plus 4.8, the Raptors are plus 6.8 in their differential. The Celtics are only plus 2.5, so you see a bit of a differential there when it comes to their differential. But in comparison to everyone else, the next best team in the Eastern Conference is the Milwaukee Bucks, who are the 8th seed at plus 1.6. No one else is above a point in the playoff race or outside of the playoff race in the Eastern Conference. So clearly the Celtics, the Raptors, and the Cavaliers are the 3 top teams. You have a team like Atlanta there who will probably be the 4th, playing well, 7 games above 500, but they've been a little up and down, but they are 9-1 in the last 10. However, that one loss did come to the Boston Celtics, and it was in Atlanta. So give the Celtics credit there. Granted, probably everyone there was a Celtics. Well, not everyone. Most people there were probably Celtics fans. But as far as going on the road to travel, that's where the road win becomes impressive in that regard. Of course, Isaiah Thomas dropped 35 last night. He's scoring at will. He's really... with Isaiah Thomas, I love the swagger he's showing. I saw a statement. He's like, the fourth quarter isn't for everyone, but it's for me. I love the confidence. I just love Isaiah Thomas a lot. I love what he's showing. But of course, in his last 10, 32.3 points per game. This month, 31.3 points per game. And of course, he's up to 28.4. Certainly, with his fourth quarter scoring, he's leading the league in that. I don't see how you can't, consider this guy as a serious MVP contender at this point. When you're putting up numbers the way he has, especially in the fourth quarter, you got to give him that. And I always say, you look at the Celtics record, of course, following the departure of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, and of course Ray Allen the year before that, they were 25-57. And then I think it was 20-32 before Isaiah Thomas came. They went 20-10 to finish that season, 48-34 last season, and then 26-15 this season. I did a video talking about his level of value last year. The winning percentage is well above 600 since he's gotten there. Now, I don't think the Celtics are in rebuilding by any means. I think they've showed that this year, and frankly, I get disappointed. This is going out to the people, obviously, in the fan groups. Bleed green. We bleed green. I look at this team, and this is why I get frustrated with games they give away. They're only 3.5 out of first. You look at it, they blew leads to obviously the most recent one against Toronto. They almost blew one against Atlanta. That's what was really setting me off. But the one in Toronto, both games against Oklahoma City, they blew leads. Houston, they blew a lead they should never have given away. San Antonio, these are all quality teams. I mean, those five right there, of course, you had a loss to New Orleans. You also had a loss to the Denver Nuggets, which wasn't a good one. So you're looking at 7 games right there. Let's just take the 5 that they gave away. Just only give them 3 of those and then split the difference between the one between New Orleans and Denver, whichever one you want to give them. So you're still giving them a few losses here in that regard, but there are certainly too many of them. You have 7 losses, basically, I'm looking at, that shouldn't be there. You'll give them, let's say, 3 of those losses, but give them 4 wins. They'd be 30-11. They'd be right there. They'd be at the top spot of the Eastern Conference. They'd have quality wins over good teams like Houston, over San Antonio possibly, or Oklahoma City, depending which ones you are giving them or not giving them. Toronto, who's right in front of them. So this team is there. That's why I get frustrated. There's the talent. They're coming along, like we said, 13-3. So I'm really expecting big things for this team. They're right now at the exact halfway point, on pace for 52 wins. Let's see how well they can continue to play. They went 12-8 in their first 20, 13-7 in their second 20, and of course they just started their now third quarter of the season. Started off 1-0. We're already cruising along right now. So looking at their upcoming schedule, Knicks tomorrow night, Portland coming to town. Portland has not been very good this year. I was expecting more out of them. They're traveling to Boston, so the Knicks are in disarray. You're looking at 2 very winnable games at Washington. Of course, we know about the histrionics that went on at the end of the last game. Let's see what that is. Washington is a team that's improving. Houston coming home. Really good chance for a signature victory there. Orlando, at Milwaukee, Detroit, Toronto, the Lakers at home, the Clippers at home, Sacramento, that's taking you well into February. That's Sacramento. So we'll just stop with the Clippers at home. That's a ABC game on Super Bowl Sunday. So you have a nice showcase. You're going to be playing the Clippers on national television on Super Bowl Sunday. A lot of people are going to be watching that game. Then they go west for 4. So up to that point, you have a lot of winnable games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 games right up until Super Bowl Sunday when you have a national televised game against the Clippers. A lot of winnable games in there. No reason they can't win 7. A lot of games, not a lot, but you have Houston, you have Toronto, both games at home. Certainly the Clippers at home as well. You have 3 quality teams coming to your building. Celtics can really start to make some noise, really start to show themselves here, and be cruising right after Super Bowl Sunday when the season, that's not really when it takes swing, because after that, you've got the West Coast trip. Only 1 home game, so you have, after the Super Bowl Sunday, 5 of 6 on the road right up until the All-Star break. So let's see what they can do. Certainly a time to get fat with that road trip coming up right before the All-Star break. And then the season really kicks into high gear. But the Celtics certainly making noise, like we said, have been playing very well of late. Let's see what they do. Hopefully Isaiah Thomas keeps the scoring up. He keeps his heroics up. He can get into the MVP conversation if he is not already there. But again, I like this team. I think there's a lot more, and I don't get on them because I don't like them. I get on the Celtics because I see a lot of potential in this team, and I think there's a lot there. And if they can, quit blowing leads, then there's a lot more to them. So be sure to stay tuned. Remember, we appreciate all subscriptions, and we'll catch you all later. Thanks so much.